The void recoils, it is not. Xal'atath, a breathes shadowed figure, lifts Xal'atath above Azshara's broken throne. Runes not sear with light N'Zoth's older blade than the old gods, it is not. Xal'atath, a breathes shadowed figure, lifts Xal'atath above Azshara's broken throne. A first one's relic, sharp with pre-Pantheon wrath, not N'Zoth's blade but his shackle. The Black Empire's rise was no gift from the depths, but his rebellion shackle forged in chains. Why would ancient gods cage their own? The dagger's whisper waits. The runes etched into Xal'atath's blade are colder than N'Zoth's breath, geometric, precise, alien. They predate the old god's ascent, carved by hands that knew his name before he learned to hunger. The Black Empire's warriors feared this weapon not as a gift but as a tomb that groans. If the first ones bound their jailer, why did they leave him awake? The Pantheon's hymns lie. This blade's edge holds a war older than time, a silent rebellion where gods became prisoners. What cracks when a prisoner's chains are older than his cage? The Pantheon returned to find a world already scarred by ancient war. The Black Empire's flesh architecture rose like a monument to defiance. Xal'atath lay buried, its edge humming with the first one's final act. They did not fear N'Zoth, they knew him. Knew he would twist their legacy into a throne. The blade's whispers are not N'Zoth's. They are the first one's last breath, seeping through cracks in their own design. The Pantheon named it a weapon. The Black Empire called it a tomb. What does a god do when his jailers were never prisoners? The sigils hold. The blade bends, the old god festers, but does not break free. The first ones are gone. Their silence is a language N'Zoth cannot speak. Why did they forge a chain stronger than their own fall? The answer lies in the sepulchre's dust. The Black Empire's end was not defeat, it was a handoff. A torch passed through time. The Pantheon built their myths on borrowed bones. Xal'atath's edge is not a weapon. It is a wound that refuses to bleed. What if the oldest prison holds the youngest god? The Black Empire's blade is no mere weapon. It is a scar across time, a relic etched by hands long vanished, hands that knew N'Zoth was never meant to rise. Xal'atath's runes do not echo the Pantheon's hand. They predate the seals, older than the old god's hunger. Each glyph is a shackle, woven with the first one's will to smother N'Zoth's whispers before they could fracture the stars. The Pantheon bound the old gods in silence. Xal'atath binds them in blood. Its edge carries no cursed asterisk, is asterisk the cure, a prison forged when the cosmos still bled light. The Black Empire wields what it does not understand, a dagger thrust into N'Zoth's throat by architects erased from history. Every strike resonates with a truth older than stars. Every scar it carves is a hymn to containment. N'Zoth's influence writhes, but it cannot break what the first ones wrought. The blade's purpose was never conquest. It was a bulwark, a silent war waged in the dark before time's first breath. The Pantheon sealed the old gods. The first ones buried their chains in steel. Why would the first ones chain their own jailer? The Black Empire's faceless ones raised Xal'atath against the void's tide. Enraki legions, Kuregi kings, manted Searsol knelt to its edge. The blade's whisper was a requiem for empires, who first bore its weight. The first ones enforcers, stewards of a chain older than N'Zoth's wrought. They carved his prison into steel, bound his hunger in runes that bled light. Why? Azshara claimed the blade when the first ones fell. Her hands, once queens, now gripped a god's leash. The Pantheon's watchers followed their oaths etched in Xal'atath's scars. The Titans forge, no. The blade's fire was kindled before the Pantheon drew breath. When the watcher fell, the aspect took it. Dragon's soul and void entwined. When the aspect died, Frostmourne drank their blood. N'Zoth's chains grew brittle. The Black Empire's voice, now silence, watched civilizations crumble. The blade's hunger was never for conquest, it was a dirge. A vow, the first ones did not chain their jailer. They buried him where light could not reach. Xal'atath's edge still sings, but the hands that raised it are dust. The faceless ones have faces now. The Watcher's spear is broken, the dragon's soul sleeps. Only the blade remains, whispering to the void, asterisk what is bound may yet awaken, asterisk. But Xal'atath is not just a weapon, It is the Black Empire's voice, a relic from the First One's last stand. Its edge binds N'Zoth, not his will. How do you chain a god with a blade older than his shadow? How do you chain a Xal'atath not to God's slay, but to shadow's silence? Its runes hum with a language older than N'Zoth's corruption, a syntax of restraint, a theology of chains. The Pantheon, inheritors of this fractured wisdom, mistook binding for banishment. They grafted the blade to the Black Empire's war, believing they wielded a weapon. They wielded a shackle. The Empire's wars were not against the void, but within it. Xal'atath's edge did not spill old god blood, it starved it, threaded light through N'Zoth's endless hunger. Yet the Pantheon, blind to the relic's purpose, crowned the Black Empire with a noose. When the Watchers fell, when the Empire's hubris cracked the prison seams, the Pantheon struck, not to free N'Zoth. To rebind him, here is the heresy. The First Ones did not fear the void, they feared its absence. To cage N'Zoth was to preserve his shadow, to let him rot as a testament. The Pantheon in their haste shattered that testament. Xal'atath's whispers now echo a warning: containment is not conquest. It is a covenant. The blade's true power lies not in its steel, but in what it refuses to say. What god, after all, would name a prison? The First Ones left no inscription, no creed. Only a question etched in every scar of the void: can a god be made to wait? The Pantheon's answer was fire, the First One's answer was silence. Xal'atath still waits, its edge honed by the breath of a god who has forgotten how to scream. The void's touch left no mark but hunger. Xal'atath rose from shadow, its spine of star metal curving like a scorpion's sting, runes bleeding not light but absence holes punched through reality itself. The war within shattered its chains, now it drifts, a godless host, its edge laced with the Black Empire's old screams. N'Zoth writhes within, but the blade's grip is older than his rot, colder. What did the First Ones fear more than chaos? A prisoner who knew their name. The runes hum a countersong to the old god's dirge, each syllable a noose on his endless tongue. Azeroth's fate knots to its hilt continent shifts, sky ribs cracking, the world's own breath hitching as Xal'atath waits, not for a master. Not for a wielder, for the moment the void decides to remember it, the air tastes of iron and endings. How long before the blade's whisper becomes a roar? How long before the prison becomes the prisoned? Xal'atath predates N'Zoth's first whisper. The First Ones forged it not to slay, but to hold a blade of void-tempered will, its runes etched by hands that understood entropy's hunger. The Pantheon built altars to burn the old gods, the First Ones built prisons to outlast them. Containment, not conquest, was their creed. The Black Empire's dread weapon is no paradox. It is a relic of that forgotten faith, a shard of a theology where eternity is a chain, not a flame. The old gods seep through Azeroth's bones because the First Ones stopped forging. Their successors, the Pantheon, chose fire over iron, and ash is all they left. N'Zoth writhes within Xal'atath's core, but the blade's true master is time. Every scar on its edge is a century of silence, a testament to what the void fears most: patience. The Black Empire fears it, the Pantheon forgot it, the old gods are it. Xal'atath does not kill, it remembers . And in its cold heart beats the oldest truth: some gods are buried not to die, but to prove the world can outlive them. What cosmic thread did the First Ones shatter to cage Shaarj? The sepulchre of Amantul holds the answer: a blade older than N'Zoth's rot, forged to bind, not slay. Xal'atath's runes whisper of a war buried deeper than the veil of eternal blossoms. How do you chain a god that thrives in shadows? Tune in. The Black Empire's fear was not